Hi, I'm Alain Cardon. I'm Master Certified Coach validated by the International Coach Federation a number of years back. And I work primarily in Europe, and we're here in Romania, and I also work other places of the world occasionally. And this is...
I'm Paul Bada. I'm CEO of Batsi, Romania, which is one of the biggest Nissan dealerships in Romania. And I've been training with Alain for the past couple of years, I could say. And one of the most important tools I got from my training was Feedforward, which I understand is not a coaching tool, more than a
not really
learning tool. So what's your take on Feedforward? What is it?
Well, there's different levels I can talk about, but first, what is feedforward? For me, it replaces the big debate about giving positive feedback or negative feedback, obviously in the States and Anglo-Saxon countries and in some other cultures. Positive feedback is considered much more valuable, and in more Latin countries like Romania, I would say, and in France, that's for sure. Negative feedback is much more common. People will be more focused on saying what can be improved because it wasn't improved, because it wasn't so good, and there's a big debate. Now, to close the debate, scientific evidence seems to say that a good 50-50 mix is good because too much positive creates complacency and self-satisfaction, and too much negative is really demotivating. So it would be good if all over the world, as far as feedback is concerned, it became 50-50. Now, feed forward is another look at it. In other words, it's saying to people, rather than saying what happened, is saying, I have a suggestion for the future. I would suggest you try this and make it very practical. If I give a suggestion like this, for instance, I could say, well, when you come to a meeting next time, I suggest you have a contract with George that he takes you on the way because he's usually on time. Just don't refuse. He picks you up on the way, and you'll be here with him, and you'll be able to really participate in the beginning meeting. So that's sort of a very practical key to solving something that I will suggest to somebody. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, I could say something negative or something positive about the past, and instead of that, I'm offering a solution. So to answer the question, which is, that's not coaching, no, it isn't, because I'm offering solutions, and formally in coaching, you don't offer solutions. Now, I really use this in training coaches because it actually develops different synapses. Yeah. In other words, well, you're aware of that, I'm sure.
I experienced it, I experienced it during the training because we had so many training hours, and each and every one of them ended with a feed-forwarding session. So what I experienced right after maybe the first month of training was I started doing it naturally in my work in the office because it just felt a lot more efficient. It's time efficient, it's energy efficient, because you don't focus on things you cannot change, you focus on things you can change. So it's a whole other dimension.
Yeah, it's true that you can't change the past, and then also if you focus on what happened in the past, the person will probably explain the reasons why, and there's always a reason for something going wrong. But by focusing on the future, you're sort of asking the other person to create the conditions for things to go right, So now what I notice is in the beginning, like you said, in the training there's a lot of practice. In the beginning, people are trained or have the habit to look at the past and give feedback. And it's almost mind-bending to say in the future. And the trick is actually to start the sentence, to say, next time I suggest, or in the future, next time this happens, try this. So if you start the sentence, it helps your synapses get aligned to develop, and then to make it very practical. And then actually, by doing this again and again as a coach, you actually train to be future-oriented, solution-oriented, practical-oriented, action plan-oriented, and so on. So for me, I really ask coaches to do it at the end of the coaching session to think about the next session, but also to start bending their synapses so they start being future oriented than past oriented, rather than analysis oriented.
Yeah.
And to help their clients and ask their clients, well, what do you suggest? What could be, if you ask a question that a good coaching question is, if you project yourself in the future and you solve the situation, how would you do it?
Yeah.
So that's the same thing as thinking in terms of feed forward. So it's for me just sort of a way of doing pumps or calisthenics or something, pumping iron in your mind to align things in the right direction and start doing. Yeah.
You mentioned analysis, so I understand that a way of, because you cannot reject analysis just like that. Maybe you need a little bit of analysis. How can you do it? Can you do it in the form of a projection?
Well, analysis by definition is the past now. From what I see in a lot of team meetings and organizations, is people talk about what happened and how it went wrong and basically whose responsibility. And then there's the feeling that you have to understand how a problem happens so as to be able to solve it in the future. Now I sort of question this. I usually say you don't need to know how you drowned to learn how to swim. Actually, moving forward is a completely different type of dynamics than running into a tree. So I sort of question the logic. Now, of course, let's not be excessive. Some analysis is good just to understand a little bit what happened, and maybe an analysis of what's going on now, and then saying how do we move forward. But I would, as a coach in teams and organizations, I'm sort of wary of the time that's being spent on analysis. I've seen meetings and meetings and meetings analyzing and studying, and then very few minutes given to the plan for the future. So it's a way of changing the synapses and creating a different focus, which is a coach focus. That's that's what coaches do.
And it's efficient, from my experience. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.